So I started Diamond Dynasty back in 2015, and I wasn't the best at hitting. Pitching came to me fairly easy, but hitting, I improved over time because of these settings and these changes I made to my game. So in this video today, I'm going to show you guys my settings and how I improved over time in MLB The Show, Diamond Dynasty, and other game modes. So now you can tweak these settings a little bit to your liking, different colors and whatnot. We'll go over that here in a second. People will have different play styles compared to how I play, but I feel like these settings here, especially for those that are just starting out, the brand new players in the game, these settings are where you should start, and it will give you a good start to stay competitive in those online Diamond Dynasty modes. Now, to change your settings, you must go all the way back to the main menu, so that way it saves throughout all the game modes. And once you're back to your main menu, you go up to the top right in the settings there and just pick settings at the very top, and we're gonna go into gameplay. Now, batting and base running is what we're gonna be talking about first here. The hitting difficulty, this really doesn't matter for online modes when you're playing up against other players and other people, so I just keep it at dynamic. My hitting view, my preferred hitting view is strike zone offset. There are different types of strike zones here. It brings the batting camera up a little bit closer to you, so it's a little bit easier to watch the pitches come into the zone and easier to throw the PCI right on the ball. The reason why I like strike zone offset is that it is so much easier to see those inside pitches. That's one thing that I struggled with when I first started the game, those inside pitches, and now it's strike zone offset. That kind of helped me out, especially with lefty on lefty batting. Now lefties are my best hitters, so when people come in late inning with a lefty pitcher against my lefty batter, I'm like, oh heck yeah, give me that right now, I'm ready for it. It's because of strike zone offset. Now if you're doing a regular strike zone camera, it'll center the pitcher right down the middle, whereas offset will kind of be offset towards the inside. The camera's kind of tilted towards the inside of the batter. My in-play view offense is medium. This is after you hit the ball. It's gonna show you, it's gonna follow the ball with the camera like floating up in the sky basically. It's on dynamic typically, I believe, and dynamic stays at the batter, and I kind of don't like how that looks, so I keep it at medium. That one you can throw on however you'd like, but I think medium is the best for in-play view offense. Hitting interface. Now this, everyone's gonna probably, I think this started out on zone right away. I would suggest starting out on zone. This gives you the PCI, that little dot that you get to move around with your L3 button or whatever it's called on Xbox, but zone is going to be the most competitive. It'll give you the best chance at squaring a ball up. Now, other people might want to use directional, which is just timing and literally just pressing one button. So it might be easier to do directional at first, but I say take the leap to zone right away. Get to learn that. Don't do pure analog. Do not do pure analog. You have to use the right stick to hit with pure analog, and it's just, it's not cool. I don't like it. But my suggestion is to just start out with zone, get used to it, because that is going to be the most competitive hitting interface in the game. Input type should be buttons if you're in zone. Analog type flick, obviously you're not going to do analog. The input type is just going to be for if you're doing directionals and whatnot. Plate coverage indicator, just leave that. Now, last year they changed the PCI. What the PCI is basically the thing that you get to control while you're batting. I'll show you guys some gameplay while I talk about this. My PCI center is circles. Inner is none, outer is none. Pick your color, whichever color you want. Typically, I use 90% transparency. This is how bright it's going to be on your screen. And then the fade out is also none. The reason why I only keep the middle is I feel like this helps me center the ball up a little bit more for more quality hits. It allows me to just focus in on the middle of the barrel because the PCI center is actually the barrel of the bat. So I feel like that helps me. If you want the inner and the outer, go ahead and do that too. That just basically shows you the area of contact, whereas the PCI center is the actual barrel of the bat. And if you center it up on the ball, it's typically a perfect hit, or at least a good timing, good contact hit. Now moving on to pitching. Pitching is you're gonna probably pick this up a lot easier. Pitching difficulty, we'll keep that on dynamic too. That really doesn't matter. Pitching interface, now pure analog. You guys will see on your screen too. I use pure analog right now because I still need a little bit more practice on the brand new pinpoint pitching. Pinpoint pitching right now is really hard. If you've seen anyone use it, they're probably struggling with it a little bit, but pinpoint pitching is supposedly going to be the most accurate pitching if you're good at it. They said that the next most accurate pitching interface is going to be meter. Again, this I don't have a lot of practice with this, and I feel like I'm still better on pure analog. Basically what pure analog is, as you guys can see on your screen here, is just using your right stick and making sure you get the timing down and where you need to end up in your circle there. Pitch feedback on my pitching view. My pitching view is outfield. I see a lot of competitive players also using the strike zone cam for pitching view, but my favorite one, and it's always been my favorite one, it's always been outfield. It kind of it shows a little bit of like the second base runner if there is a runner on second base, but it's like the typical view like you see in MLB games in real life games. So I like outfield. We'll keep that at outfield. Pitch delay. So this is for CPU games. Like if you want your games to go a little bit faster, if you want the pitcher to pick up the pace a little bit instead of waiting in between pitches, I would turn this onto faster. Fielding, button accuracy. A super simple throwing interface in the fielding. So home plate is your X button, first base is circle, second base is triangle, and third base is square. You just gotta hold it down and make sure you're in the green when throwing. We're gonna keep the assist on fielding decision. Throwing decision is off, so that way the CPU doesn't automatically throw. I don't think this is a thing in competitive online gameplay though, so that just stays off anyways. In-play view defense stays on dynamic. Throw canceling is on. This is very important. If you get a runner stuck in between bases, you want to be able to throw cancel or at least change where you want to throw. To throw cancel, once you've made a throw, say to second, you just have to double tap that second base button and it'll cancel the throw for you, or you can go to a different base and hold that down and throw it there instead. You want to keep one button dive / jump off because I just don't trust this enough to make the right decision whether to dive or jump for a ball. So we're going to keep that off. Defensive shift. I know some people don't like the shift. I usually just keep this on auto because I think it's really there to help us out in the shifts, because some players obviously have more tendency to pull the ball or whatnot, so we'll keep that on auto. You can always change that in between games if you want to turn the defensive shift off, depending on how your opponent is playing. If he's always late on the ball and always finding those gaps, you might want to turn this off. Off the wall ribbon. This was off to begin the season, so we turned it on. What the off the wall ribbon is, basically, if the ball is going to hit the back wall or any wall whatsoever, it is going to show you where it's actually going to bounce. So that is a very helpful tool. We're going to keep off the wall ribbon on. So general is basically going to be all like CPU stuff, so we can just keep that where it is. So moving on to the presentation settings, this is usually set up at hybrid presentation mode. We're going to switch that to fast play. I like making sure that the games go by a little bit faster since we do gotta grind a lot in this game, so we're gonna switch that to fast play. Pitch selection cameras pitching only. We can always turn that off actually too. Basically what this is when you're in a CPU game and you're picking a pitch, it's gonna hover a camera around the pitcher and tell you what pitch, or ask you which pitch you want to throw. We're gonna put that at none, so that way we don't have that like extra presentation where it's gonna take an extra couple seconds out of your game time. I know a couple seconds isn't much, but when you're playing games over and over again, all that stacks up. All that time stacks up. But everything else will keep the way it is. Don't touch anything else. The only thing you're moving here is go to fast play and pitch selection cameras to none. Audio video, depending on how you want your sound to be, this is where you gotta go. Since I make videos and we can't have any copyright, I just turn all the audio off. I leave the I'll show you here. I'll leave the sound effects volume on for hits and stuff because I want to hear that, the sound of the bat, the mitt, and we keep the crowd volume a little bit less than half, so it's not too loud. We need that. We need that pump up from the crowd. I like that. And then mode specific stuff. I didn't really touch this. I'll let you guys check this out. This is typically for CPU, Road to the Show, and franchise. So, but that's basically it there, guys. I hope these settings help you out throughout your game. If you're new, especially check out these settings and let me know what you guys think of it. But I feel like I've definitely improved in this game, especially in the hitting side, just by switching my settings, because I used to play on like all the default modes and I didn't know better. So I hope this helps you out. Leave a like and a subscribe on the video if you are still here. Thank you for watching all the way through, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.